Hi everyone, it's Tuesday, March 24th. Today we're going to make a beef barley soup. Soup is one of those foods that if you're not feeling well or maybe a little bit down, soup can pick you up. It gives you a lot of nutrition and pretty much everything you need to sustain you. That's why it's always a very popular item when people are feeling sick. Now there's a bit of a canned soup shortage. This is going to be better than any of the canned soups that the people that have been hoarding the stuff are going to have. We're going to be making beef barley. When we do it at home, it's always the same, but it's always different too. And reason why is that we have our regular ingredients. We're always using onions, a little bit of black beans. We're using, of course, the meat, carrots, and a bit of tomatoes. Outside of that, it can change dramatically. So we'll get into what those mystery ingredients can be a little bit later on. But the first thing we want to do is get our barley going. So I've got a pot with some water that's heating up so we can boil off the barley. And before we do anything, I'm going to go and I'm going to wash my hands, because right now that seems to be one of those effective things to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So I'll see you in a minute. Our water's boiling rapidly now, and it's time to put the barley inside. There's two kinds of barley you can get. This is pot barley, and there's also pearl barley. The best kind of barley that you can use is the stuff that you have inside your cupboard. No need to go out for anything. If you don't have barley, if you have some brown rice, that'll work just as well. We're going to put in about, maybe about a cup worth of barley. There you go. That's it. Okay, it's been about an hour, and our barley's all nice, ready and cooked. I'm going to take that into the sink and I'm going to drain it off, give it a rinse to get the starch off, and then put it into a bowl and we'll use it later on. Alright, my hands are clean. It's time to start cooking, but before I start cooking the ingredients, I just wanted to mention, if you don't have beef, you could substitute virtually anything you want. You could be using pork, you could use ground chicken, you could use ground turkey. If you're a vegetarian, you probably already know you can substitute any of those meat items with either some beans of different kinds, or you could put in a little bit of tofu. So right now we've got beef to work with. I'm going to put a little bit of oil into the pot that's already heated up. There we go. Okay, let's get some onions going in. There we are, sizzling away. And we're going to take our beef and we're going to drop it inside. Let's give that a stir. And we're going to cook that down until it's browned up. Our beef and onions are starting to brown up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some carrots. And we'll just saute those carrots in with it for maybe about another minute or so. Okay, the carrots are nice and sauteed. It's time to add some other ingredients. So we're going to take a can of diced tomatoes. If you don't like diced tomatoes, don't put diced tomatoes in. And then we're going to add some black beans. Find they just add a little bit more texture. You get a little bit more protein into the soup as well. It doesn't have to be black beans. Those could be chickpeas, they could be kidney beans, anything you have. And if you don't have any beans, you're not going to put beans in. That will all work out for you. I'm going to turn the temperature down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, now this is where the real fun begins. We're going to look and find some of what I call the mystery ingredients. We try to save our food at home, so if we have leftovers, instead of throwing them out, what we do is we wrap them up into little packages and we stick them in the fridge or freezer depending on what they are. So I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to go wash my hands, and then I'm going to check and see what I can scavenge from our fridge and freezer. I'll be back in a minute. I'm back from my adventure in our fridge, and it wasn't too bad this time around. I had some pork from the other night, so I diced and cubed that up. I'm going to throw that in. Those will do some nice chunks. We had some frozen peas and frozen corn left over from dinner. We're going to add those in there as well. There we go, put the peas in for good measure. And then a couple days back when I was making pizza, I had a little bit leftover tomato sauce. So let's go ahead and add the tomato sauce in. There we are. Can't forget barley, it's one of the key ingredients. Okay, let's put that in. We need a little bit more moisture right now, so let's add a bit of water just to get that covered up. Give it a quick stir, and then we're going to wait until it comes up to boil again. All right, the soup is back up to temperature. It smells absolutely wonderful. I'm not the type of person that likes to season early. I like to season my soup at the end, and then do it more by taste. So I like to add, usually on a beef barley soup, a little bit of beef stock into there, not too much. That'll give us our salt actually, so we don't need to add any salt to it. A little bit of garlic powder. And one of the magic ingredients is chili powder in a beef barley soup. It gives it a really nice savory flavor. If you like it spicy, use the other side of the lid, put more in. But if you just want it just to be a little subtle hint, just a small amount on top is going to do. I'm a big one for savory. And to get a savory flavor in a soup, there is nothing better than a little bit of balsamic vinegar. You don't need to get the expensive kind. It's cheap sign is going to work. Give yourself a real good dose inside. And we'll give it a stir. Get those seasonings all around. You can already start to smell them coming out. Now, I haven't given you any measurements because taste is up to the individual. But as a cook, you do need to taste it. So you start always with a clean spoon, and you'll only put it in one time. So I'm just going to give this a taste and see how we're at with the seasonings. A little hot, wonderful. I'm going to add a bit more chili powder to it, get a little bit more flavor there, okay? And I want to show you one last trick before we spoon some out. If you want to thicken a soup, and you have someone that might have gluten intolerance, in that case you wouldn't have put the barley in either, but you still want to get it a little bit thicker. Take a potato, okay, and all you need to do is grate some potato inside for your soup. You can grate as little or as much as you want. The potato is going to break down, and the starches will break down, and it will actually thicken your soup for you. So it's a really healthy, easy way. You can use it in a soup. You can use it in a anything else that's a liquidy that you want to get being a little bit thicker. Okay. All right. That looks perfect. But I think there's something missing. I always like to have something to dip into my soup. So remember we made the pizza the other day, and I had too much dough. I put that dough in the fridge, and I saw it when I went in to get the other ingredients. I'm going to take that dough out, and we're just going to make a really quick flatbread to go with it. Okay, I got my hands washed again, and I've got the dough out of the fridge. We got a pan here that we're going to put the flatbread onto. Let's give it a spray. If you don't have a spray, just a little bit of oil rubbed on it will do. This is where butter doesn't work, just a little bit of oil so you won't smoke. Okay, we're going to take our dough. That's been in for a couple of days. Dough can be in for a few days and it really doesn't matter in the fridge. Let's get it to come out. There we go. All right. We don't have to roll this. There's nothing fancy about it. Let's just push it with our fingers to the edges. There we go. And I just took a little bit of oil, some Italian seasoning, and a little bit of garlic. And we're going to spread that on top. This is not really a focaccia bread. I don't know what you'd really call it, but this is just going to be good. Okay. Put a little there, a little around here. I preheated the oven to 450 degrees. I always find when you're doing breads, you can never be too high. There we go. That's good. That's ready to go in the oven. We're going to throw this in, and then I'll see you after it comes out. All right, the flatbread's out of the oven, and we're ready to serve up dinner. This soup that I've made here, it's like a lot of my cooking. I can cook fancy, but when friends or family that I'm cooking for, I like to make pioneer food. It's really simple, and we're at times right now that are very challenging, but simple foods like the pioneers used to have are really easy. They don't require you leaving home to go out and get yourself a handful of ingredients every day or two from the store. These are all things that most of us have, and if we make slightly bigger batches, that pot I made there was really simple to do. You can freeze that up. That's probably 20, maybe 24 portions that we made up there. The bread, which is just a leftover byproduct from making the pizza the other day, has been repurposed into a wonderful flatbread. that you can slice that up, serve it with the soup, and you're good to go. So I just want to leave you with one thought. Cooking during challenging times like this is all about improvising and not leaving home. You know, to stay family or to stay safe and to keep your family safe. Staying indoors, having a little bit of fun, passing on some of these skills to your kids is going to go a long way. And do make some things ahead of time. None of us know if we're going to get hit by the virus. Having some soup tucked away can really make the difference in terms of how you're going to feel and how you're going to recover. Stay safe, keep well, and as long as I'm able to, I'm going to keep trying to share some more recipes with you. Thank you. Please click subscribe now for my newest cooking videos. A printable recipe and ingredients list can be found on my blog page. You'll find the link in the video description box. Thank you and have a great day.